Musical Theater History class, welcome to my presentation. If you're watching this and your name is not Shelley Cooper, then you have just elected to watch this presentation because you thought it looked fun. So you might be asking why I'm in this Minecraft world, and the answer is that I was trying to think of cool creative ideas since I had been working on, I've been trying to make my projects as interesting and different as possible. And since I've been playing a lot of Minecraft on this world that you are sort of seeing, but I'm kind of hiding, I figured it'd be cool to build something. So I decided to build the barricade scene from Les Mis on a stage in a creative world, and then give you a little video tour of that. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out. I have high expectations, high hopes but low expectations. I'm probably going to cut that part. This is going to be great! Woo! For reference, this is the house that I just completed in survival, and it's a little lighthouse house on the edge of a cliff. This took me several days, and we're trying to build a whole stage. So I'm probably gonna get help, and it's gonna be fun. And yeah, we're gonna get down to it. All right, we'll see you on the other world. So the first step at this whole project was loading into the world and finding a good spot to put this stage. I already knew how big the stage was. I had made these measurements before, so I had just had to select what block I wanted, and I decided on black concrete because it was cool and it was super dark, like a stage. I grabbed some other blocks I thought I would need, and I ultimately didn't. Before we could start building the stage, we had to clear out some dirt, and the best way to do that is some really efficient, powerful shovels, which I made. The problem is that they didn't work in creative mode. So, thinking quickly, I switched our game mode to survival, and we cleared house. This part right here coming up, you can see that my friend Ethan is relatively new to the game, and he was enjoying building up to max height, which I promptly stopped. Then we got on to building the stage. We built the dimensions of Bayreuth specifically using those measurements which I had already made, the 7 on either side for the proscenium, and then a 14-meter gap for everything else. We lit up the world for really no reason other than visibility, but the torches didn't really matter in the end because this thing was so massive that there was no real good way to light it anyway. So we finished making the stage. Took all of us not that long, really, in all honesty, and then we got right down to work in building the set. Had to decide what blocks I wanted to make out of it, and before I even could make the set, I had to build the proscenium, which I did relatively quickly. Then we laid out the structure of the set using cobblestone, except I was wrong the first time, and so we had to reset. But we settled on the idea of the Les Mis from the movie, because it was fun, and we knew that it would be something we could do, something more ornate than just like Versailles, I guess, or the capital of France at the time. You know, it was something cool that we could do, and it was something interesting that we could make work. So we got right down to working on it. I covered up something that Ethan had built in the background that I hadn't noticed until just late, and the problem is that it was in all of my footage, so that just kind of sucks, which is why this video is going as unlisted. Anyway, we got down to business, made a couple 2-story house, and this was our first build for this, and we were kind of happy with it. Then I got down to changing the road. I wanted it to be a cobblestone and brick layout, just because I thought it would look cool. So I used the fill command and just gave myself a giant square of brick, because that was the fastest way to do it. Then I added some cobblestone for a little dexterity, and we moved along with the project. Cobblestone was kind of our laying out thing, and we tested a lot of colors for these buildings before settling on the right ones, which I think we did. We were going for more earthy tones. Everything was really kind of a shade of dull color or white or a grayscale. I wanted a tunnel over there, and I was really hype about it, but I didn't get to work on it until a little later on in the project because I was starting up at the beginning of the stage. So I took this side of the stage, and my brother took the other side of the stage because we figured that would be the easiest way. While Jason Palmer, my roommate, was working on the house out behind me, as you'll see periodically, he went to work building the actual Bayreuth stage, like the actual theater setup with all of its various prosceniums that make you feel like you're inside. They had some villagers because they thought we should have a crowd, and then we promptly killed them all. As you can see, they're not in this shot. I added some mossy cobblestone because I felt that mossy cobblestone broke up the color scheme of the like red and gray. It's really good in Minecraft, especially, or any really design thing, to break up your color palettes, because if you if you're building something like this that's super detail oriented and you use the same color palette, it just becomes super bland. So you can tell if you take some stop frames. That was me starting to work on the barricade, which I didn't get back to until a while later, and we also took time to light up the house. The barricade's loose, but you can tell from that still shot right there that we really tried to meld our colors, mismatch them, because it added more contrast to the stage and it made each building a little bit more individual. So each building has its own personality. That gets hard because you only have so many blocks. Here I went a little crazy with the French flags because I was super happy. I was like, yeah, French flags. And they're all over the place, and I love it, and I just kept changing them the entire time. Little quick still image, you can see that the house has changed, and I got to work on the barricade just slightly, and then I stopped because I was not ready to work on the barricade. Those scaffolding blocks were wonderful, though, and I could get back to work on them soon. I decided I wanted that last building on the side over the archway to be out of marble, but I really wasn't sure how to make that. In the meantime, Jason had switched the house again because it wasn't actually correct, so we switched it. I was originally going for a dome, and then I decided I hated that idea. So instead, I went for another idea, but that was a little later on. We decided that it needed a third floor because the central house is kind of the key point in the scene. So we added a third story, and it made the whole thing look a little more prestigious. Here was my thing. I went with like a castle design out of quartz because I thought it looked a little cleaner, a little more into the set, and it didn't overshadow the center building, which was big for me. Then we put the backdrop around the big black wall because I was getting tired of looking through the buildings. Added some more French flags, and then I made a big French flag because I figured, what else but a big French flag? Except I screwed up the first time because it was way too big. So I cut it all down and I retried it. There it is. Now that's the French flag I ended up going with. Take a nice gander at it, and it looks kind of nice. I appreciate it. Then we moved on. No time to rest. I got back to work on the barricade. I grabbed some interesting buckets, interesting items, blocks that nobody would think of using, including note blocks, composters, bees, whatever you store bees in, beehives, and an anvil and stuff, and I was really having fun sorting it out. Meanwhile, Joshua got to work on the roof because I wanted it to be covered, and the Bayreuth Festspiel house is so tall that you could put a roof on it. Of course, in Minecraft, that leads to lighting issues, but I wasn't really worried about that. I was just working on the barricade. Unfortunately, at that point, we had to leave Minecraft for about 30 minutes, and I forgot to record the last bit of us actually doing the stuff that we were doing at that point. So, at this point, we're going to just skip over to the completed, finished version for the little tour I was going to give you of everything that's done. We finished the barricade, we finished the roof, I did some lighting projects, made sure everything looked nice and clean and all finished, and, yeah, just kind of got it all done. At this point, I figured I would leave you with a little view of the lighthouse just because, you know, something real nice and quaint just to end everything off on. So yeah, on to the actual review. Alright, so after that hopefully successful montage that I haven't yet edited, so whew, a little bit of stress for me. You should see that we've completed this whole place, so I'll give you the tour. I have to give thanks to my brother and the couple of friends that helped me out with this. It was about a 5-hour project with 4 or 5 people working on it at any given time. So the one person doing this might have taken, oh my gosh, I don't even want to think about how long that would have taken. So, as some of you might have noticed, we're back in the Bayreuth Festspiel house because it's the only theater that I have measurements for, and I figured that would be kind of cool to have a realistic size set on a realistic size stage. So we took the measurements I yoinked from that for my diorama, and we made them to scale. The house is not to scale, but it is to design. This was done by Jason Palmer, this beautiful house. Incomplete with the upper working of the roof. If you look up pictures, it looks something like that. Not exactly, but pretty close. So here's the set. I chose to do the Baricade Scene from Les Mis because I thought it would be an interesting scene. I was going to do the scene from Phantom of the Opera. I was thinking the scaffolding scene because it would be kind of cool, but I actually thought that the scene from Les Mis would give me more opportunity to make interesting design choices and some very detailed sets. So, house aside, let's get into the set. So, obviously, first we have the barricade. This whole thing was done based on the imagery from the barricade scene from the movie in Les Mis, which was actually the last time that I'd seen this production, and I really liked remembering that movie. I really liked how closed in the set seemed, and I really liked this middle building. It's pretty prominent in the Les Mis. In fact, I looked up images of that Les Mis production, and I kind of yoinked this building and the alleyway scheme. But then after that, it was really on us the onus was on us to make this design look cool. So we have the barricade here, just a kind of assembly of blocks. I don't know that anybody really will care about this, but the barrel blocks, the honey blocks, are not these are honeycombs or hive blocks, I believe. They're new. The note blocks, anvils, and the like. And then something that I personally love is the scaffolding, because I didn't realize how easy it would be to hook up all of these trapdoors to make this look so realistic. And honestly, I was really happy with how the barricade turned out. Also the composters. We have the fireplaces, or the campfires back here to give the smoking feel and really give the audience the feeling. And from back here, because this is supposed to be a serviceable set, I added this little way to step up here so you can step onto the barricades, over the barricades, and a little stair up here. And all of this is invisible from the audience, but I thought it would be serviceable if this was to be an actual set, to be able to actually climb your barricades, because that's kind of important. Obviously, that's kind of the main focus of the scene, and therefore it takes up the front of the stage, or the middle point of the stage, because you want to see the barrier. The astute, or even not so astute, may have noticed that I put French flags literally everywhere, and that's because I was so happy that I could make the French flag so nicely. And then I made the giant one up there that you see, and it's kind of dwarfed by the blue of the sky, so probably should have chose a little different blue texture, but you know, that is all right. Just gonna set the weather to clear, because I heard the rain coming, and that would be annoying as we go around the side. So other than the main barricade with the set as a thing, this is obviously a set in its design. So we have the cobble and the brick flooring just kind of working as a broken cobblestone street. And then we have our backdrop, which is a whole bunch of wonderfully constructed buildings. I feel like I definitely have to thank the people who helped me. So my younger brother actually built these 3 houses, and this was my side as we worked on that. Obviously, you saw the montage, so you will know that if you were paying attention to that small detail. I would have liked to, in the montage, get a general overview cam, which is what most people do, but I don't have a secondary Minecraft account, so I can't. We were looking to create the rustic French, I don't know, downtown. Not really rustic, I'd say almost like cramped and confined more than rustic, but the buildings actually look kind of rustic. So we have pretty much what would be the likes of a French town. I added this building because I wanted something out of marble to kind of, or this white, it is marble in the game, but I was looking for something white to kind of emulate like Versailles, or a building of governmental importance, which is often common in the barricade scene. They often do that near what would be the Capitol building. Other than that specific building that I was looking for, with the platform for the person to stand out on and sing, there's all these windows for people to sing from, and multi-story buildings for people to kind of sing and hang around. In this building we have just some light decoration, because why not? And we could take a look up a couple of floors all the way to the roof. I believe I am wrong, actually. I cannot make it to the roof, but you know, that's fine, because we are in creative and we can make it anywhere that we desire. Honestly, not too much really to say about it. It is in a set, and I tried to keep some of that set ideas with this, like scaffolding. It's really it's not necessary, but I thought it was kind of cool. If you walk backstage, you would see this, and then you can clearly see the facade of the town breaks down. This is truly just for the audience. And all of this glowstone around here, these light-giving blocks, including that strip of painfully bright blocks, is meant to sort of illuminate the town. I even have it on the back of the French flag, because it's just it's dark when you cover over a set like that, and it would be dark in an actual theater. So I felt that barring having the world open, which or the set open to the sky, which I felt would be a little unrealistic. I asked my brother to help me and put this nice domed sky over the set, and I lit it up with glowstone, so it gives it a little bit more of a nighttime appearance, but it also really, I felt that the lighting in this, unintentionally, I mean, I was intentionally trying to place these lanterns around in strategic areas, but I thought that this lighting scheme actually really worked for this scene, especially with the fire and the fact that a lot of the light is emanating from the stack. We have this dark spot up here. Just it looks pretty gritty, as much as gritty as you can for a Minecraft thing. So in a nutshell, I mean, that's really what I did for this. It was an interesting project for me, and I was looking for doing things that probably hadn't been done before. So I thought, hey, why not just recreate the entire set from Les Mis? And well, here it is. This is the finished product. It is several hours of work and some nicely detailed work, and I'm very proud of everybody who worked on it with me. We have the alleyway continues over that way. The alleyway actually continues twice, one if you're going into this building area, or one if you're going back to the main streets. And it's a pretty serviceable thing if you were to actually make this for a true show. It would be quite a useful set. Actually, I would love to see a stage production with this, but I feel like it would be quite expensive. And then just as a last little thing, this is what the set looks like from the outside. It's literally just a humongous box, which really puts into perspective the amount of detail that we managed to squeeze into this small, large box. It's kind of cool. So that was really my project right there. Just a little, and I would not dare to call it quick, but a little recreation of the barricade scene from Les Mis, to scale in the Bayreuth Festspielhaus, even though that's sacrilegious and Bayreuth would never put on Les Mis. This is what you'd see, sort of, if you were putting on Les Mis on top of the barricade in the Bayreuth Festspielhaus. So yeah, something a little cool, a little unique, and something very detailed that I'm actually quite proud of. Can't help but smile at the work that went into this and how absolutely stellar it turned out. The French flag flying. Not this French flag. That one. That joke is old. Very dead. Very, very, very dead, obviously. But it's still funny. Alright, thank you for watching my video and checking out my project. I hope you enjoyed and were entertained at least a little bit by this crazy undertaking that we did to put on this small little production of one singular scene from Les Mis. And maybe someday you will get to see this very set in a stage theater about this big. One last note, if you were interested earlier when I did that presentation and couldn't tell from the foam about how tall that Bayreuth Festspielhaus stage is, this is how tall it is. This is, if you were to stand on the stage, this would be your how tall just the first proscenium is. So it just gives you a little bit of a scope on how absolutely massive this place really is. Can't talk about the house, it's a little off, but this proscenium is correct, so just a really massive structure. Thank you for watching. Hopefully your project turned out pretty well, and you're all doing safe, well, and wonderful on this Monday. Thank you.